Well, I had been saying that for a long time that I was going to do a walk-around review of the John Deere 3005, and I hadn't just hadn't had the time to, you know, for one reason or another. But finally getting around to doing that today, I thought it would be a good day to do it, and I just cleaned it up the other day, and so yeah, let's do a walk-around review of that. And we'll start it up, and be a cold start. Although it's not very cold today, it's probably about 69 degrees outside. It's kind of a little abnormally warm for November, but anyway, it's nice nevertheless. But the tractor's four-wheel drive. It's shift on the fly, has differential lock on the rear end. You can lock the rear wheels together for positive traction. It is a manual transmission. Has the clutch here, dual stage clutch, has a live PTO. The live PTO allows you to, when you're running an implement such as a bush hog or another PTO driven implement, you push the clutch in halfway, it allows the PTO to keep turning so that your implement doesn't stop. But the tractor will stop and allow you to change gears. If you push the clutch all the way down fully, it stops the PTO and the tractor together. It takes the power away from the transmission and the PTO. So that's the way that works. You have your gear shift. It has a high-low range transmission. It's 8 forward gears and 2 reverse. And this is your PTO engagement. When it's down like this, it's disengaged. When you pull it up into here, means that it's engaged. That's your four-wheel drive lever. That's two-wheel drive. When you push it all the way forward, it's four-wheel drive. This little knob right here controls the amount of resistance on the 3-point hitch, the rate of drop that it has. So like if you have a real heavy implement like this bush hog here weighs somewhere between 600 and 700 pounds, a heavy implement like that, you want to have more resistance on the 3-point hitch, so you would increase this dial right here so that it let it down slower. Because if you take and let the rock shaft lever down, and with an implement that heavy and you didn't have the resistance up on this, it would just slam and hit the ground. So that's the purpose behind that. Lighter implements, you would decrease the resistance, vice versa, depending on how heavy something is on the rear end. And so yeah, that's the way that works. This right here is your differential lock pedal, and that's for your rear end. If one wheel gets to spinning and you need extra traction, just put your heel down on that and it'll lock both rear wheels together positive. And that's your high-low range for your transmission. Up is high range, middle way is neutral, and all the way down is low. And this lever, this is your loader joystick right here. You have, basically think of it like a compass. You have north, south, east to west movement on that. And each movement controls different positions of the lift and the bucket movement. So that's what that's for. Of course, you have seat belt and roll bar. That's a pretty standard thing these days on tractors. This right here is the hand throttle. Right here, you control the engine speed by hand, and they also give you a foot throttle right there that you can override this with at any time. And when you let off the foot throttle, it will go back to the preset throttle speed that you have this at. So that's the way that works. It's a good feature to have. That's your park and brake lock right there. It has dual individual brakes. In other words, like if you're in the field or need to make a tight turn somewhere, you can separate these brakes like that. Just for those tight turning maneuvers. I really don't use it that way that much because it turns pretty tight turning radius on it as it is. So when you're traveling along, you want them to be both locked together so that when you mash the brake in, it stops both rear wheels at the same time, so you don't have an accident. So that's the brakes there. All these lines right here are your hydraulic lines that go to the front end loader. And tractor does have power steering. Steers really easy. You got pretty much full gauges up here. You got fuel, temperature, tachometer, hour meter. You do have a warning light for your battery, alternator, a parking brake light, and oil pressure, oil temperature warning lights. He has your hazard flashers there. And there are your flashers, there are your tail lights. That's the rear work light right there. Right back here is where you add the transmission oil to. Transmission oil and hydraulic oil are all one common sump. That's where you add it, and there's the dipstick for checking it right there. And of course, y'all seen the bush hog before. It's the same one I was using on the 8N Hardy Panther 6-foot bush hog. It's been a really good unit. So yeah, that's pretty much everything on the outside. This right here, this little canister right here, I get people ask me all the time what that's for. Now on tractors and implements, you see the bush hog has one similar to it. That's what they put your owner's manuals in now. They roll them up and put them inside these canisters, and once the lid is on here, this little rubber gasket makes it watertight, so you can store it in there and it doesn't get wet or messed up. But anyway, it's a good cup holder if you don't put the owner's manual in there. But yeah, let's raise the hood though and take a look at the engine. If we can get a look over in there. You pull this lever out. I can get my arm in there the right way. The loader's kind of in the way a little bit, but there you go. Just pull it out like that, kind of like a car, you know. Hood raises up like that. I'm trying to see if I can come on this side here. Stand up on this tire so I can get up high enough. One thing I like about this tractor is that everything about it's metal. The hood, fenders, side panels, I mean everything is steel. So it's real sturdy. You know, a lot of tractors these days will have fiberglass hood and fenders, and I guess that's alright and everything, but for me, I just like this. I mean, it's just seems to be a lot more better built. But anybody that knows these tractors, the John Deere 3005 is known for being just stone reliable. I mean, you know, and tough as nails. I mean, they carry way more than their weight when you're working with them, despite their size. And it used to be called a 790, and then they just changed the model designation to 3005, but essentially it's the same tractor as the 790 was. It's powered by direct injection Yanmar. It's 1.3 liter diesel, no turbo, naturally aspirated. It has glow plugs as a cold starting aid, as well as an intake grid heater on the inside the intake manifold. And most of the time this engine will start right up. It'll start right up even without the glow plugs, but sometimes when it's really cold you might use them for about 5 seconds and it fires right up. I've never had to use the intake heater grid, but it's on there for the real cold climates. But anyway, you have your air cleaner up here. Your battery is down there up under the air cleaner. You have your radiator here. You can see the little fan there. That's your coolant reservoir. Muffler. Exhaust comes out the front up there up under by the front tire. Fuel filters up there and all. And there's your fuel tank back there. So yeah, It's a small engine, 3 cylinders, and it puts out about 28 horsepower, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but I'm gonna tell you, I've used this tractor and it is just, I mean, it's strong. I mean, it doesn't bog down. I mean, I've been in grass bush hogging up, no lie, as high as these fenders here on it, and running it at like only 2,000 RPM. That's not even the highest RPM that it will run, and it doesn't even surge down, not at all. So I mean, it's got the power and torque it needs. I mean, like I said, 28 horsepower doesn't sound like a lot, but it's more than enough. You know, it'll do anything I need it to do, and then some. And on this side right here, you can see a little baby alternator right there, little tiny thing, but it has good charging on it too. I haven't had any trouble with that, so all that works good. And so yeah, it's a good unit though. The engine, the Yanmar engine, is a Japanese made diesel, and Yanmar has been around for a really long time. And John Deere has actually been partnered up with Yanmar for a very long time, putting their engines in their tractors and lawnmowers and Gator utility vehicles and things like that are diesel. And they start up, they're real reliable and fuel efficient. I mean, you just wouldn't even believe how fuel efficient they are. This tractor right here, you can fill it up on a tank of diesel. I think it's about a 6 or 6.5 gallon fuel tank on this tractor, and you can fill it up and it lasts forever. I mean, you know, even running it fast, it lasts a long time. And so you just can't ask for anything better than that. That's a good thing to have when you're out working with one, that you don't have to constantly be stopping to fill it up with fuel, because everybody knows how high diesel is these days. And this also too, I forgot to mention that, is these new engines right here use the ultra low sulfur diesel fuel, which is basically like the highway grade that you put in all the road going diesel vehicles these days. That's the same thing that you have to burn in these, because if you burn off-road diesel in here, it'll mess it up. So anyway, so yeah, let's give it a try here and start her up. I've got 41 hours on it since new. It's probably been about 2 weeks since it's been started, but we've had some cold nights and stuff like that. But I mean, I didn't even use the glow plugs then. I turned the key on and let the fuel filter fill up with fuel. You actually have to turn the key back to the left to activate the glow plug. So anyway, I rarely have to use them, even when it's real cold. Maybe if it's like below freezing, I might, just to speed up the starting process, but other than that, it's really not necessary. I'm going to let it warm up a little bit though before I move it. It's always a good idea to let it get the oil and the hydraulic fluid heated up a little bit rather than pull right off if you can help it. Puffing a little smoke out. Yeah. That pretty much covers everything on the outside though. I'll probably take it for a spin here and go check on a few things in just a minute.